Hello and welcome to School Life Unpacked with me, your host, Natasha Curtis-Ego. Today I am so excited to have a wonderful guest with me who is going to tell us all about an organisation that is local and is something we should all get to know about. If you would like to take a moment and please introduce yourself, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, hello. My name is Vicky Perrin and I am the Partnership and Projects Manager for a charity called Achieve, Thrive, Flourish, based in Southend.
So how long have you been part of this charity for?
So I started it was after COVID that I started working part-time with ATF, and then about 2 years ago I went full-time, and the time has literally flown past.
Yeah. So could you tell us what ATF is and what you do?
Of course, ATF is a charity. We're based in Southend, but we work all across Estuary Essex, really. So we work in Southend, we work in Basildon, Canvey, Langdon. We've just ventured into Tilbury, and we're trying to work with people to build communities, helping people feel part of something, feel supported. And a lot of what we do is about helping people stay active. We are a sports charity, but yeah, it's just about being part of something positive.
ATF began originally in 2012 as Achievement Through Football. Could you tell us a little bit about those early sessions on the pitch? I know obviously it wasn't you personally there, but just a little bit of the history of your charity.
Yeah, absolutely. We started as Achievement Through Football, and that was just our CEO, Stuart Long, and his wife turning up to a field in Shoebury. And it was a group of young children playing football on a field, and they loved it, and they turned up week after week. And what we were trying to do, there's a lot of pressure in football where you can't afford it's like there's a financial barrier there. The fees associated with football for young kids means that they're missing out, some of them. I've got 2 young boys myself. I know the fees that are associated with it. So it was about still allowing the children to play football and taking away that financial barrier. However, we found that it wasn't just about the football. It was about giving them a positive place to be, a safe place to be, keeping them out of trouble. And we could see what that sense of belonging was, the difference that was making to these children. So we started as that football team, and we just realised that it was more than just that. And then since those days, we've moved on. It's grown naturally. We started putting on youth clubs. We started doing one-to-one mentoring with youth offenders. We started doing the holiday programmes, the family programs that we do, and football is still very much a huge part of what we do. And actually we've gone full circle now, because we've gone from that simple just playing football in a field. We've added the programs, but actually we've got our own football team as well. Again, now amazing. I think they're in the Olympian League. They've already gone up a division and they're doing fantastic. And it's still that we still pay the fees. So we're still addressing that financial barrier. And a lot of the people that are playing for our team are people that we've met through our community projects.
That's amazing. Mm-hmm. And I love this idea that you're helping children and people who wouldn't necessarily have that access and feel like they're missing out, be part of something so much more.
Absolutely.
I think that's just beautiful, really. It really is. So you became like an official charity. So what made that transition, and how did that help allow you to grow as well?
Becoming the charity was quite a big milestone for us. For that, we were a community group, and we were running a lot of youth sessions. But we realised in order to grow, to reach more people, and in order for us to have a longer lasting impact on a bigger audience, we had to take that next step. So I think it was more about sustainability rather than anything. We didn't want the work that we were doing just to be short term. So the charity just gave us that structure. It opened up new partnerships. It gave us access to funding, and it just allowed us to grow in a way that we could reach more people.
You mentioned earlier that you started just sort of in Shoebury, and now you're across, a lot of Essex, which is a big growth. So part of the charity helped you access those areas as well, I guess?
Absolutely. I think as well as the charity, a lot of the funding that we go for, you had to be a charity as well. So it just meant that I think as ATF, we do something and put on sessions in a certain area, it goes really well. And then you see other people, partnerships in different areas wanting that in their area as well. Yeah. So it just meant that we could go for more grants in order to then expand into those different areas.
And like, from speaking with you, I can see that our community really needs that. We need that support outside of our everyday lives. And we live in an area that isn't necessarily as affluent as other areas. So it's nice to know that there are people who can see that and can support us being, better as a. So your mission is achieve, thrive, and flourish. What does that mean to you and your team? And
it's a good question. It's at the heart of everything we do, to be honest. I mean, if you broke it down, like the achieve, it's about helping people set those goals and try and reach them. And that could be something really small, and it could be something really big. Like, for example, we could have a parent who's never been to a family session before, and just speaking to them and getting them to that first session could be one of the goals. It could be, for example, on the one-to-one youth offending side, we work with a lot of school reviewers, and it could be getting them back into education, maybe just 50% more of the time, which is a huge achievement. The thrive bit is just giving them the tools to support them to keep going. And then once they feel good, they start making those positive relationships. And you've given, every week we turn up, and it shows that we're giving them the stability to keep going, and they've got that sense of belonging, so they start to grow. And then the flourish is where it all comes together, really. People aren't just getting by, they're enjoying it, they've got a purpose. And I think, I'm talking on behalf of the team, I think we all meet people at different stages in that journey. So, for example, we have one of our team members, Jade. She's really good in Southend. You'll probably see her out and about, but just talking to people on the street and trying to say, look, come to this session. And that person would then maybe turn up to one where they've never been before. And then a year later, like there's been so many times when that person has come up to Jade and said, do you remember you saw me outside the chip shop? And now I'm going to this session. My eldest is going to the youth club. My middle child goes to your HAF program. And yeah, like I say, we meet them at all different stages. And I think we're really good within ATF at signposting. So once you've come to a session, we speak to the families. We get to know like what it is that they're looking for, who's in their family, etc. And then we signpost them so that helps them along with how they're doing.
It's sort of providing that support, isn't it? And allowing people to have somewhere, like you said, somewhere safe to go. And sometimes you don't even, as a family, especially I think with new families, you don't have that, you don't know what to do. It's a lot of pressure, there's a lot going on. Mm-hmm. It's nice to have somewhere to go where someone can say, oh, did you know this is there? And you've got an older one, they can go there. And it just makes you breathe again. Mm-hmm. I think as parents, sometimes we don't know, we're holding our breaths and just hoping to get through. And so
we have a lot. We always make WhatsApp groups, and then we always make sure that we're putting posters on those WhatsApp groups for all our different sessions. So someone could wake up in the morning, and up until then they might have thought, I'm not doing anything today, I'm having a day at home, but then they look at their WhatsApp and, oh, that's gone. Okay, I will go out. And I think it's a really fantastic way of reaching people. And like you say, taking away that struggle of trying to find things that are on. We're saying, look, this is on. And a lot of our things, I should have mentioned, are free of charge. So it's the financial worry is not there. We've got something we could do, and it works.
You support children or families and from the earliest of years. Could you tell us about some of the programs you offer for the little ones and how that impacts our society, or our community, I should say?
It's a big focus for us within ATF, but I think it's something I'm really passionate about because I'm in charge of the early years stuff for ATF. We run a program called Leapsfrogs, and when I first started it was looking at, like when I had 2 young children, you would look at going to the classes and you would have to pay out for a singing class, a dancing class, a sensory class, a learning, like a speech improvement class. Mm-hmm. And each one of those cost a lot of money. So when I first started Leapsfrogs, it was all about trying to make that all-encompassing class at a low cost. So Leapsfrogs it's a children's exercise class, but it's kind of disguised as that because it's actually like a family engagement class.
Okay.
So whilst they're being physically active, they're learning their shapes, colours, numbers. We do the dancing in there. We do all sorts. But at a Leapsfrogs class, you'd never see a parent or a grandparent or a carer round the outside on their phone whilst their child's taking part, they're fully involved in the class. And for us, I think those early years are so important because there's so many feelings of isolation there. And it might be that you're a single mum. It might be that it's two parents, but one's having to work all day long just in order to pay the bills. A lot of what we're seeing now is that both parents are at work, and we have grandparents coming. We have childminders coming with the children. And in all of those scenarios, you can feel really lonely, So early years is really important to us because we offer the majority of our classes free of charge. They come along, and it's not just about the children. Like, the parents are connecting with each other as well. We have a lot of people that follow us from one class to another. We have people from Canvey that come to Southend, and they've got leapfrogs in common, and they're there being stupid. I mean, like, at the start, they're having to be animals in the yoga, and you lose that sense of like feeling stupid because you're all in it together. And it has become what started as very much just I wanted a class that ticked the boxes for all the things I wanted for my children, has grown naturally, and it's now this huge parent engagement community class, and you just leave with such a wonderful feeling. It's really good.
I can hear the passion when you talk about it, and I really love this idea that, like you said, to put your child into everything you want them to do costs you a fortune.
Absolutely.
And then you start having to sacrifice things because you're like, do I put you into this or do we do this? And you have to sort of really carefully calculate, for most families anyway, carefully calculate what you can and can't do. And then you always feel that awful guilt as a parent that your child isn't getting to do as much as you would love them to. So this idea is just amazing. So how many sessions do you run, and where are they?
Wow. So for Leapfrogs, we run one in Wakeram.
Mm-hmm.
We run one in Shoebury at the youth centre on a Friday. We run one at the Hive in Garrans, which is an outdoor leapfrogs, on a Wednesday. We run one at Langdon Wellbeing Church on a Thursday. We run two in Canvey, one on a Wednesday, one on a Thursday. Yeah, it's crazy. And we've just started out in Tilbury on a Wednesday as well. And then on top of that, we run Nature School as well on a Tuesday at the
Oh my
Hive.
goodness.
And that's what we've always wanted to do. We wanted to offer families something every day.
Okay.
Because children are unpredictable in how they're feeling, what their mood's like, and some days, especially during the winter, you just sit there and you think, I just don't want to go out, the weather's awful. So we wanted to be able to put something on every day so that it's okay if you miss one session, I can just go to that. And it's a really good way of people to venture out from Southend, go and meet new people in Canvey or come along to Langdon. So it works very well.
Sounds really amazing, and it sounds like it's really growing rapidly.
Absolutely, it's crazy.
Just a random question. So you said you're at the Hive at Garrans outside. Do you run that all through winter as well?
Absolutely, and it's me that runs it. So we took over the lease for the Hive in January this year, and my CEO said to me, I'd like you to start Nature School. And actually, we'd been running, so we were hiring the Hive the year before, and we ran leapfrogs through the summer and to the winter to about, I think it's about mid-December, because the rain starts coming and then it's icy and it gets a little bit slippery. But then we took over the lease in January, and obviously we wanted to put everything into it. And one of the huge things, because it's a conservation site, is to do the Nature School. Yeah, our CEO said, we'd like you to do Nature School. And honestly, we started, I think it was the last week in January or the first week in February, and it was freezing, and I had my hardcore nature people there. And to be fair, we've just done a nature school today, and those people are still coming. And it's such a fantastic site because although you've got the grassy areas that can get muddy, it's got a pathway all around it. So, and that's clear of leaves, etc. We have probation that come down and do their community hours clearing our paths for us. So it's usable all year round. It's just very cold. And we do have some undercover areas that we utilise as well.
But I think it's really amazing to encourage our youngsters, especially from really early on, to get out into nature and to be out in all weather. One of the mums I met always says, there's no bad weather, just bad clothes.
And someone said that exact sentence to me today.
And I wouldn't have believed it. I'm very much, I quite like being warm, but having kids has pushed me to step out of my comfort zone and say, no, you know what? There's no bad weather, just bad clothes. So if I wrap you up, I wrap me up. We're fine. We can do anything.
And they really do come wrapped up. If I'm honest, the nature school is, when I first started it was because it was cold and wet and horrible, it was really hard, but it's probably one of the sessions I look forward to most. But we also run the leapfrogs there, which is, so the nature school is a charged one, but we really keep the costs low on that.
Okay.
So I think most nature school, forest schools are about £8-9 per child, and we do £4. So we literally split it in half.
Yeah.
And we make it so it's, because it's 0 to 5 and nature school is meant to be child-led, we always put on, because of their age, we just put on a little bit of structure. Just, it's like an introduction to nature school rather than full-on forest school, because they are young, it does get cold, and they do feel the cold sometimes. But with the leapfrogs as well, we adapt our indoor class to the hive as well, and they do assault courses all around. It's huge, the hive, and they'll do all of their assault courses there. And the children absolutely love it, as do the parents.
It's really amazing. I'm like, I want to come along, but my little people bigger. So once you've done early years, what do you offer next? You mentioned youth groups. Sorry, I feel like I'm jumping, but I wanted to sort of know progression as in age. So once we've got our kids 0 to 5 and they're at school, what do you now offer?
So we do a lot with the parents as well. Okay. So we're very much looking at that family. We're very much looking at keeping the families coming together. Okay. We think that's really important. So we do have tea time clubs. So we've got one going in Basildon, Briscoe, and we've got one at the Hive as well on a Monday night, where parents and children can come along together. And we think it's really important to create that space where they can have positive quality time together, because a lot of the time you go home and you're doing something and your child's either watching TV, which is no bad thing, we all do it, but it's nice to actually have a space where they come out to and you do get that quality time. And although it's a simple play session or like a simple activity, it builds those connections, because you've got the families there having a nice time together, and then they start talking to other families, etc. We also have one in Queensway, which I think children from about 8 can go along to that. I think for us it's about, like I say, keeping the families connected, making sure that, like, for example, we don't want it to be just because you're 0 to 5 your child goes to school. We want to still stay connected with you, because I think if your families are more involved, they're more likely to get involved in the community as well, not just through ATF, and then they're more likely to be happier and then pass that positivity to the children as well.
I hear that. So that really resonates with me, because I think if you can encourage the families to be happier, they're meeting other families, so they're connecting within their local community. And then there's that happiness that comes in. I think when you feel less isolated, your mental health improves, and so much goodness can come from just allowing families that time to reconnect. Because like you say, you're busy, stuff happens, you're always thinking of your next job, but allowing that time together to just be a family with other families, it's extremely positive.
Absolutely. And it could be something so small. It could be literally, like, I think they were doing like marshmallow toasting at the Tea Time Club, and we did it at nature school as well, but all of you just ran the fire, like, when did you get that chance to do that?
You don't, not anymore, not so often. Absolutely. I don't think. So with ATF, where do you, beyond the youth work and this integration with community and the wider programs, how do you bring people together and make Southend stronger and a more connected place?
We really pride ourselves on the work that we do with the youths, to be honest. And if we think about it, they're probably the hardest years. I personally do a lot of work with one-to-one youth offenders. It's something I'm so passionate about. We work with them on a one-to-one basis for, it can be minimum of 12 weeks. And because we're a sports charity, we do still use that hook of sports to try and entice them to work with you, because a lot of the kids that we're meeting on the youth offending side, they've made bad choices. They've been told they've made bad choices a lot of the time. They're not happy. So it takes a lot for them to give us a chance. And sport is perfect for that hook. Like, come along, free of charge. We're going to do some boxing with you. It helps with their mental health. It helps with their being physically active. And they love it. But we can do anything, any sport. But then once we start working with them a bit, they're having fun. They're enjoying their time. They're looking forward to seeing you. They start opening up. They start trusting you. You're there week in, week out for the first 12 weeks. They start trusting you. And that's when the real work happens, to be honest. And that's when the mentoring is so important. But like I say, it all started from sport. Yeah. So I'll never take away that, although we started from football, sport is so important to us as a charity as well. We also have quite a few programs where we look at the well-being of the youngsters. One of our huge programs, which is so successful, is called Positive Futures, and it's running in, I can't tell you the number, but so many schools across Essex now. And that is based on, it's a course where people go in who have got real lived experiences. I'm not a fan of that word sometimes, but they go in there and they talk to the children about what's happened in their lives, the choices they've made, the consequences of their choices, what they're doing now to having to turn their lives around. It's such a powerful course because it's people their own age talking to them. It's not an older lecturer or teacher coming in to talk to them. It's people their own age that have made those choices, that have told them. I mean, we have kids going in there that have been in prison, that are on youth offending themselves, and it's such a powerful course. So we have such good feedback from the schools from that course, and I think it really resonates with the children. And we've just started as well. Again, it's something I'm doing with my colleague Alex. We work on the mental health with young girls in school from like year 7 to year 11. And we look at topics such as self-esteem, anxiety, toxic relationships, social media, huge one, resilience. So we do those courses. And again, like the Positive Futures, it's not a course where we talk at them. It's we talk with them. We ask for their experiences. And it works really, really well. Support them there. We've also got our youth clubs. So we've got the King Edward's Youth Club in Langdon on a Friday night. We've got a Queensway Youth Club on a Tuesday night. We have a youth club at Warrior Square on a Thursday early evening. And we offer all of those to give them that carry on and continue with that safe space where they've got somewhere to go, somewhere to be with their friends, somewhere where they're not causing antisocial behaviour or what's deemed to be antisocial behaviour. And it's a huge part of what we do.
It's really nice to hear that there are youth clubs still going, because as a child, I remember youth clubs, and we used to go to one at my local church. But as I'm raising my kids, you don't hear about them anymore. It's sort of, what do youth do? Where is your safe space? So it's nice to know that there are safe spaces for our youth to be themselves and to be encouraged to have an outlet, but in a positive way, and not to be made to feel that you're being a nuisance or you're too loud or, intimidating. You're just allowed to be you.
We provide food as well. So a lot of our locations, our youth clubs, will provide food. So they're getting that hot meal as well. And our youth clubs are free of charge. So they don't have to book. It could be they just turn up. And we have such good feedback where they said they weren't sure, they turned up, and actually they never looked back, because we're so, I think talk for everyone when I say we're so non-judgmental within ATF, and we do use the sports again. So we'll have activities on, such as it could be pool, it could be football, it could be table tennis, it could be anything, but it gives them something to do so they're not just sat there bored. And we've had so many young people turn up and then continue to turn up week after week. So it's something we're really, really proud of.
It sounds like an amazing charity, and it sounds so positive, and it's really exciting to know that it's local. It's something we can access as parents. It's something, we're not talking about something that's far away. It's something here for us, which is really amazing. May I ask, is there any particular success story that stands out to you whilst you've been at ATF at all?
Yeah, people might have heard of his story, but I think the one that stands out for me is actually someone that works with us now. So I met Ted and he'll be happy for me to share because he talks all the time. I met Ted 2 years ago now, on the one-to-one youth offending side, and he'd had a really poor upbringing, and he'd got himself in terrible trouble in Kent, and then been moved to Essex into Basildon, into a really horrible place, and got himself in trouble here as well. So I was referred Ted for the one-to-one youth offending mentoring. So when I met Ted, he was an angry young man. He thought the world owed him a favour, and he wouldn't turn up sometimes. He would be given a gym pass, like we bought him a gym pass, and he would lose the pass. He was a nightmare, but there was something about him. And we spoke, and my boys play football, so I like football, so I found that common ground between myself and Ted, that we both liked football. And then my son's in an academy, so he started saying how he played in an academy, and it was the biggest mistake of his life because he was drug tested and failed and kicked out. So that's when it all kind of went wrong for him, and he kept talking about it. And the way he spoke was that he was quite sure of himself and his football skills. So I went and spoke to my CEO and said, can we give him a chance to volunteer? I'll be there fully, so I'll be there checking up that everything's been good, being done okay. And he said yes. Ted came along and was brilliant. The kids connected with him because he was their age. And since then, he's just flown. He now talks on our Positive Futures course. He talks, and all the kids, if you look at the feedback, will be saying that his story was the one that hit home, that was so powerful, because he didn't have it easy, but he also made some really poor choices, and he owns them. And I think the way he speaks, the kids really resonate with it. But now, he was speaking in Parliament for us in the summer this year. He's been on the radio speaking, and he's trying to show people, and I think what he's trying to show is change is possible. And I think that's what comes across best on his Positive Futures course. Everything he's been through, the upbringing he was dealt, the choices he made, it doesn't mean change isn't possible, and you can become something of yourself. So I think that's the story that stands out for me.
That's really powerful. And I can imagine listening to him and the children seeing that change is possible, because I think sometimes you get this feeling that you can't change, you're stuck. These are your cards and you've got them for life. So to be able to see someone who's made such a positive change, it must be amazing and inspirational. You've delivered some initiatives like Fit and Fed holiday clubs and neighbourhood connections projects. How does this go beyond sport and tackle issues like mental health?
So HAF, which is the holiday and food programme that we run, is a huge part of what we do with ATF, and we put on experiences for the children that they're not going to experience every day in their lives. We try and make it really special, but the sessions and the activities, it's never just about that activity. It's about, with our HAF program, the kids are, number one, they're staying active, so we always make sure that we've got lots going on in our programs. But We also give them healthy meals, hot meals. I think one of the major things that Southend makes sure of is that they get a free hot meal. Parents get a break. Parents need a break. Parents don't have that stress of finding the childcare, affording the childcare, and having to go out to work to pay the bills. And it relieves that financial pressure. And all of that together reduces the stress on people, therefore helping with the mental health. They help with the cost of living. They help with mental health. They help with isolation. We have a lot of children that come to our HAF clubs that are quite shy, but their parents do have to work. And I think when they're in that situation with a huge group of children, and the staff are really good at making sure they're included in things, they learn something from that and they build and grow within those programs.
I think mental health is such a big issue, especially with our youth. I feel like since COVID, a lid has been lifted and we're suddenly seeing that children have a lot of mental health issues, and we haven't really taken as much notice of it in a way. And now we are aware of it. It's nice to know that as an awareness builds, the support builds with that, which is, so important in many, many, many ways. But it's nice to also know, I think, in our area, I remember speaking to some people and they're saying, sometimes a school meal is the only hot meal a child will get. So it's nice to know that in holiday times, there's a hot meal that other kids can get, because we take it for granted that everybody is eating and everybody's fine, but that's not the case, especially as things keep getting more and more and more expensive, and there doesn't seem to be a break in that expense build and cost of living crisis. Would you like to talk a little bit about the Great Wakering Pavilion that you've taken over, if that's okay, just to tell people a little bit about what it is? And I know we've spoken about Garens, but this is also something you've just started.
We have, I don't know if many people know the Wakering area, but you've got the local recreation ground, and a lot of the football teams will play on those fields that are there. But within Wakering, and I used to live in Wakering myself, so I know it really well, a lot of people use that field. It's a huge community asset. And then you've got the dance school there as well. So people come to that area for a lot.
I'm just so sorry to interrupt. I've just realised where it is. I know where.
Samantha Boyd.
That's where it is.
One. Yes. Absolutely. So in front of the Samantha Boyd is those changing rooms. So that is the Wakering Hub.
Oh, I see.
Okay. And at the moment, we've got a partnership company with Yard Fitness, and he uses those. He runs half out of there, but he runs his Yard Fitness building. He runs his Yard Fitness business there, which is a exercise group for adults and children as well, actually. But at the moment, I think it's had like a lick of paint and it's been cleaned up. But the local football teams use it as well as a changing room. So now what we'd like to do is make that a community asset, because it's got the potential to be something amazing, but obviously that costs money, and we always have to go for grants for all these changes or sessions that we want to run. So at the moment, we're at the point of looking for funds in order to change it so we can get a kitchen in there, we can have some patio doors to open up onto the field, and then potentially it could be anything. We could use it for leapfrogs, because leapfrogs is something, the family session, that could run anywhere. So you can come over to the park and just run that with tea and biscuits afterwards, or you could have a youth club. It doesn't have to be a load of people, but even 5-6 kids coming in there, giving them that positive, safe place again. Yard Fitness can use it. It could be amazing. So like I say, it's very early doors, but and we're really hopeful and excited for it.
It sounds like, again, another really amazing project potential, that can only go from strength to strength. You work closely with councils and schools and partnerships. How important is that collaboration in keeping a sustainability and effectiveness of your charity?
Yeah, it's really important. It's vital when we've got that, because we couldn't do what we're doing without them. It means that we're not working in isolation. It means that we're part of a bigger network, and we've all got the same goals. I mean, I'm talking on behalf of them, but I think we've all got the same goals, looking for the improvement in people's well-being, We always hold discovery days as well, where we will make sure that we will invite partnerships down, and it could be local shops, it could be the library, it could be schools in particular, and we will put on, we ask people to come along, and we have some paper, and we ask them what's good, what's in this area that you like, what buildings have you got, what assets have you got here, and then we ask them what would they like to see. And the schools are such a huge part of that, and all the business will say, well, you could use this. And it's a really fantastic way of building those partnerships, those connections, but also making sure that people feel part of what's happening. It gives the ownership to them, and then they're empowered to actually get involved. Like I say, the schools, I think, are a huge thing for us as well, because they help us to reach young people that need extra support. They're helping us, like by picking up on who would need help or inviting us in to do our courses, so that we can put in that early intervention work. But yeah, like I say, it's vital to have us all on the same page and working together.
Great to hear that there is that connection, and it's wonderful to hear that you're in our schools, and with that early intervention, so many positive things can happen. And that's nice to know as a parent, that there is that group of people who have seen a need, seen a way to help without trying to continuously take. You know, like with a lot of things, when it, like, sport unites us, and it's something most people can relate to, whether you're watching, playing, getting involved. But as a parent, it costs a lot to get your child into it. So it's nice to know that actually somebody's gone, you know what, everybody deserves to have that opportunity to at least learn a little bit more and have a connection with people, and also as families for the bond to be stronger, to build better communities for us. Thank you so much for your time. I've learned so much about your charity, and I think ATF is amazing, and its words really resonate. You know, this idea of achieving, of thriving, of flourishing. And I think we should say thank you for the work that you do, because it sounds amazingly valuable, and I'm definitely going to be looking out for things that you're putting on and staying in touch. Thank you for your time, Vicky. It's been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If people did want to have a look, please have a look at our Facebook page or our website, which is www.atfcommunity.com.
Thank you
for chatting.
Thank you. And they can find you on Instagram as well,
absolutely,
right?
Yes, absolutely.
So we're definitely sending out links. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode, and we truly appreciate you listening. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, subscribe, and follow to stay updated on future episodes. We look forward to seeing you next week.